Honorable Mashogu on the 22nd of November 2020. That was during the inaugural East African Employability Summit, which is also one of the signature products that CCA has put forth to impact students. Now, allow me to project a screen that I'll take you through. Some of you might have come across our presentation or a bit of the notes that I would share in this part of introduction. Like Alex mentioned, this will go on for quite a long time, 5 months, one session per month. But again, our ongoing engagements continue with student leaders, with your institutions in different capacities. The course of the program is called Emerge Global because we believe that in the competitive world, it is important that young leaders master not just local skills, but competitive skills that would place them anywhere on the global geography, but still thrive. And diving into just a bit of the history about CCA. We are 10 years old today, formed in 2014. We've been in the market for different persons, but particularly you student leaders, your colleagues in schools, your colleagues in your learning institutions, seeking to gain expertise or capacity to do various tasks that are apportioned to us, either by virtue of occupying space in elected seats or turning up for your colleagues in various roles. Now, this is just a milestone of what CCA has evolved through. Like I said, the ideation from 2013 and officially launching into space in 2014. This year, 2024, we celebrate a decade of impact, having reached a total of 1 million students across the East African community, or worked with over 350 experts, organized 3 Uongozi Career Awards. 2 so far, and the 3rd one coming this year, that also targets to award students and student leaders that excel in different capacities. We have also organized what we are calling the largest employability summit in East Africa, bringing together the 7 nations, which happened last year. Again, the 2nd one is happening this year in October 23rd to 24th. Among very many other things that we do is to work with high schools, work with primary schools, because this was also, again, a recommendation by the advisors of the basic education peers that thought that it is important that we support primary schools and high schools in career assessment, career coaching, and career counseling. The mission of this program, the Emerge Global program, is to build capacities of student leaders and those who occupy any sort of leadership positions in your institutions, particularly people who are nominated or elected as class reps, nominated or elected as faculty reps and congress people, club leaders, society leaders, and individuals that occupy the responsibility of career ambassadors or those that advance the subject on careers. Specifically, we have set out 4 objectives that we would like to achieve, again, alongside this collaboration with you, in mainstreaming and imparting 21st century skills as a priority. And that's why we call ourselves global citizens. And that's why we call this program Emerge Global. We are also making it possible to maximize awareness of the opportunities and platforms and partnerships available to you leaders in improving delivery of your day-to-day responsibilities to the students and all that rely on your leadership and service delivery. We are also establishing and ranking vulnerabilities within the institutions, particularly on building an image, building an institution that is scalable and leaders that can ascend to different opportunities post campus. Again, this is meant to boost the overall appreciation of the capacity of student leaders and the effective role they play in building the space and making it possible for your colleagues and the universities to succeed in providing holistic education. I'm trying to move on to the next slide. Please acknowledge when it's ongoing or you can see it. In the meantime, I forgot to remind us to introduce ourselves via the chat box by just stating the university you are from, your name, and the responsibility you serve in or the position you serve in. If you are an ordinary student, well and good, please just mention that. Thank you. So why student leaders? Why are you particularly important? We are saying that you are occupying a critical gap and feeling that responsibility immensely between bridging the institutions, the primary stakeholders who are your comrades and external partners. And you play particularly a key role in preserving and elevating institutional image and overall brand positioning. Why is this important? Because this is really what keeps you admitted in the institutions where you are and keeps you learning for a period of 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years, depending on the lengths of your courses, if sometimes even 2. And so in feeling that responsibility, there is need to improve capacity to deliver. There is need to improve people management skills, decision making, the level of comprehension of emotional intelligence and how you display it, innovation, creativity, and some of the critical aspects of leadership. And so revamping this capacity is an ongoing concern, an ongoing need, which this Corporate Career Academy and other partners are playing continuously. Our intervention particularly is via this program that we called Emerge Global, that is student leader specific training and mentorship focused on, helping Kenyan emerging leaders and by and large the East African community to alleviate particular challenges that are synonymous with leadership, and leadership especially in spaces of constant crisis such as the university spaces. And specifically our initiative that is called, like I said, Emerge Global, is mapping leaders, and a majority of you have been mapped and identified through your colleagues, through your own effort to onboard, and through our constant communication with your institutions. Alex has been doing that constantly for a period of time and is aware when leadership changes mantle or previous leaders pass that responsibility to others, and aware that these responsibilities keep on changing and succession is a perpetual thing in institutions, then it's important that we keep this conversation going. And the second thing, other than mapping and having you in a coordinated platform, we are beginning and continuing to build capacities, like we've said, work that we've been doing for the past 10 years. We do this through mentoring, skills development, career services in your institutions, the annual gathering, the team building, inauguration support for new councils and congresses that are elected into office. And we also recognize and reward exemplary leadership of individuals and even at institutional capacity. We award the alumni of the year. We award the president, the director of the secretary academics of the year, the male student leader of the year, the female student of the year, most innovative, most entrepreneurial, and many others, the career ambassador of the year, for example, and the mental health champion of the year, aware of the difficulties that you guys and your colleagues face in navigating the space in these institutions, and probably to succeed in your academic journey. And that happens alongside the East African Employability Summit, which has been in place since last year, but the awards began in 2022. Perhaps some of you are in this call that have benefited from the award previously, or probably were recognized. If you are there, please acknowledge in the chat box. Probably you're awarded in 2022 or 2023, or you know a colleague that was a recipient of our award. It would be nice to also just note in the chat box. Now, networking, which we believe is fundamental for leaders and people seeking to advance leadership, is something that we do and continue to do with the team building exercises. This year, we have an annual team building for student leaders, and we hope that some of you will find themselves participating in that. Now, we use this platform to empower and to ensure that we get certified leaders with certificates, either of mentorships or of expertise in career, as career ambassadors, career counselors, or even career analysts. We also ensure that at the end of this, we are going to retain a pool of visionary leaders with the possibility of solving those peculiar challenges that we have mentioned. Significantly, we are also mentioning that at the end of this, we seek to see a consolidated, interconnected, and a properly networked or closely knit ecosystem of student leaders or emerging leaders in the country, with established on-campus youth mentorship program, which supports the vulnerable at risk, including your colleagues with disability and so forth. And fundamentally, at the end of this, we will inaugurate all of you as career ambassadors of the academy to establish career clubs in your institution, some which are ongoing conversations. Why is it important to be a career ambassador? We are talking about the, a blur future of work, which perhaps is pointing some, painting some doubtfulness and hopelessness among people in training now, that where do I work? How is it possible that I will get an opportunity to earn decent livelihood in these difficult circumstances when we're talking about AI, the future of work, the uncertainties in this space, the shrinking manufacturing space, and all that pertains to, inclusive opportunities for young people. So when we build these career clubs and you are career ambassadors, it's possible that we can keep on this conversation at an institutional level to inspire many other of your colleagues, many other of your comrades that would benefit from this set of networking and mentorship. And we have introduced a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation, where you will be able to collaborate with CCA to access opportunities even as you continue to learn. There is this aspect of many young people in training, either formal or informal, waiting until they're done with the course or done with the exercise of training and capacity building before they venture into anything, including entrepreneurship, including working part-time. But statistics and facts have shown that students who venture into business or some, space of trying to earn a living for themselves are able to succeed faster than those who begin hunting for opportunities post-graduation or post-completion of your studies. So school-based programs, which are also available in your institutions, are such programs that are supposed to indicate to you that, look, you are a student, but you could also be working on the side or doing something on the side with your free time to earn a living. in the shrinking economy where, the disposable income amongst households has shrunk, it is important that we beneficiaries of those transfer payments from our parents, the guardians, the government itself, are able to work extra hard to earn a coin, open a printing shop, which students do, open an eatery, make juices, sell whatever students are buying, cakes, cookies, and of course, not cookies laced with those other items that sometimes you sneak in. We are looking at clean business. But again, also volunteer in a community to work, turn up as an intern or as an attaché in corporate spaces that are available around you. Teachers, for example, begin teaching in the schools that are neighboring their campuses and institutions. And in the TVETs, they're talking about students who are able to open up a company and have an innovation churned into the market as they grow into the space. So CCA has existing, and we continue to sign agreements with organizations looking to work with students as entrepreneurs and people working part-time. One such is going to be happening in less than a week. We are signing a new agreement with a platform that is looking for 15,000 students to onboard the research platform or their pool of research assistants. So basic skills in data analysis, in digital data collection, in community engagement, and so forth would earn you a slot there. And not just you who are in this poll now, but the constituencies that you represent, the many students that are looking to work part-time. And the beauty of this is that you work remotely or particularly in the areas where you are based. So if you're a student in Chuka, for example, you'll get assignments around Chuka University, the Tharaka, Nithi County. You'll get assignments just in your jurisdiction. If you're in Bungoma, then you are probably going to work from there. If you're in Masile Muliro in Kakamega, then your assignments would be revolving around Kakamega, but of course with the flexibility of your timetables and availability. Other than that, we have other arrangements, and we hope that those are opportunities that you will be benefiting from. Perhaps some of you may be here that benefited from the job shadowing program earlier this year with the Diamond Trust Bank in January, February, and it was paid in a program for 2 weeks. We are going to be onboarding yet another team of students in August, and so stay tuned and stay awake so that you don't miss in that opportunity. Other than that, this is just a glance of what we had prepared last year for different training programs. Of course, you are aware that the Corporate Career Academy is a social enterprise, now a member of the East African Business Council. We, as such, do not really charge market prices for our programs, but we customize them. And like I said, we have physical or virtual sessions and some hybrid virtual ones such as this to help you navigate the space. There are regional and national trainings, and we have a variety of facilitators, some whom I'll share their profiles as we go on. So this is meant to basically be conservative in pricing to help universities and colleges to be able to meet their goals on holistic provision of education. Like I mentioned, for this particular program, it's free and it's not going to be charged. At the end, we will be able to have you all inaugurated as our ambassadors. Over the years, we've been able to reach, like I said, over 1 million students in the region. And this is just part of what we've been able to do in terms of placement, in terms of job shadowing, in terms of international speakers, our programs and initiatives. Now, speaking to you has been Philip. Like I told you, I'm going to be the lead trainer in this program. And that formed part of my introduction. I may not need to really go deep into my uh, um, profile. Please, at your own time, again, look at LinkedIn and various platforms where you can read more about the academy, the speakers, the trainers, and so forth. But just to reaffirm is that what we are doing is out of passion. I'm a former student leader, and in 2014, for 1 year, I served as the director of academics at Chuka University. I am a mentor, certified one by the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. Most recently, I got an appointment as the Africa representative or special youth envoy on association, All Africa Association of Small Enterprises. This is regards to implementations of the Africa protocols, youth protocols, particularly on the Africa Continental Free Trade area. My colleague Livingstone, who is also co-founder of the academy, is yet another certified career analyst and a professional, an enthusiast in leadership and development with over 10 years of experience. He will be speaking to you in the next sessions. And of course, our colleague Jen, who is also a certified human resource professional, will be speaking to you at some point. She is a talent manager and a facilitator certified by the International Labour Organization, besides being an Edu Milestone certified career analyst. She's also a mediator. And of course, there is Alex, there is Dorothy, and you'll interact with many other trainers in the process. So with that elaborate introduction, I would basically want to go to the second bit of this call today and this workshop, in immersing you into the essentials of leadership, and leadership in the context of the institutions you work at, the level of involvement, and your capacities at this level. And I'm sure that you are already aware of many other things about leadership. You're aware of, the dynamics in leadership. And when, for example, you are an elected student leader, you've gone through some induction, some workshop that, touched on some basics. So this is really not a new thing, but a reminder to all of us that there are some essentials that we must keep building on, keep working on to, fit the bill of leadership. And so briefly, I will be able to just show you a few slides on what we've summarized in 3 areas. One, the essential skills, and what makes you have an inclusive and effective community of students, community or leaders in your institutions. And maybe just to throw the spanner in the works, as we make this transition, what are some of the essentials or the essential skills you think you should have? And I will read some of the random answers that you'll be able to post in the chat box. So please, let's see those comments coming in. Anyone that has a 1 or 2 essential skills that they want to look out for as leaders. I will give us 2 minutes for this exercise as we proceed on. So please share those comments as we transition. Thank you. Thank you very much. I can see those responses coming. Quite brilliant. Emotional intelligence, communication skills, decision making, again, communication skills mentioned, group work, competence, problem solving skills, critical thinking and innovation, integrity, very key for leaders, communication, vision, negotiation skills, uh, empathy, integrity, listening skills. You guys look to have read into my presentation. I think we should call it a day and go home. Team building, very important and very essential. Assertiveness, resilience, quite key. Project management, well, yeah, you need that as a skill. It might not be one of the core skills, but it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm encouraged that we are dealing with a team that is quite aware of really what the situation is and what we need to do. And this gives me the courage that what we are doing is not in vain. We are building already on some foundation that has been laid, probably by your previous interaction with other speakers, with other trainers, and particularly in your ongoing individual quest to learn. So in cultivating future leaders, some of the essential skills that we are looking at, and particularly some of the issues that you want to check on, is what is your space in the community you are in? Do you have a supportive culture around you? And a supportive culture would mean if you work within a community setting, then are there people approving of your leadership, your vision? Mentoring and coaching. This is part of the mentorship that you're getting as leaders. Is it important? Is it an important aspect of leadership? And the affirmative response is yes. Mentorship and coaching are key in your growth and development as leaders. Cultivating a leadership mentality. And what is cultivating a leadership mentality? Many times when you are not in the driver's seat, you can sleep, and you can enjoy your sleep from the beginning to the end of a journey. But when you're driving, you can't blink because the lives of your passengers are in your hands, literally. And so you have to be the driver. You have to provide the navigation. You have to stay alert, and you have to be assertive in driving the vehicle to the end. When you're in leadership, you have to take responsibility. You can't pass it back to someone else. And so the culture or the mindset of a leader is that if this is not done, then it is not done unless I do it. And so taking responsibility is part of cultivating that leadership mindset for you to thrive in this space. Encouraging diversity and inclusion. Today, we have something interesting in the country, a conversation around the Gen Zs, and particularly on young people reclaiming their space, as they say. And really, why is it important? Why is the conversation taking this hit? It's because there is a feeling that young people, not just in Kenya, but across the globe, have not been included. But good news is, as we fight here in Kenya, as we fight here in Africa, the UN, through the United Nations General Assembly in 2022, for the first time, made it a responsibility of the APEX and the Secretariat body to include the youth in their programs by establishing or adopting the decision that established the Office of the the youth office at the secretariat level. What that means is that in 2023, last year, following that decision, then a youth affairs assistant secretary general at the UN level was appointed to lead the youth space and to lead the youth programs. Why is that important? It's important because as young people, we've always talked about a platform of our own, branded young, led by the young, and founded by the young. And so in that aspect of inclusivity, at the university, where the primary subject has always been taking care of the interest of the key stakeholders or the core stakeholders, who are the students, then it becomes increasingly important that even within that student demographics, we have diverse interest, including persons with disability, including students from minority communities, including students from who have just recently adopted or achieved the immigrant status or migrated from one country to the other. We have adopted students from other jurisdictions and nationalities. And so encouraging diversity and inclusion or inclusivity becomes key in cultivating your leadership today and for the future. And that's why we have cultural weeks or cultural nights in universities, even in government departments. And that's why we celebrate what we call the Utamaduni Day as a nation. I began by mentioning that this program is called Emerge Global. And so global citizenship is key for anyone that is thinking leadership. Global citizenship because you're already interacting with the global citizens from various jurisdictions. And it would be important for me just to know, in your institutions, do we have international students? And if you do, please mention particular countries that are most represented in your institutions in terms of foreign students. So if, for example, you are from UON and you have many students from Uganda, you'll type in Uganda. If you are from, say, Technical University and you have a majority of the students coming from Ethiopia, just let us know the name of the country. And perhaps if you don't know even the distribution of the population, just mention some of the countries that are represented in your institutions. And perhaps what would be interesting to know as a comment is, how have you been taking care of the needs of international students and students with disability? So please also feel free to share that as a comment. I can see the answers coming in. Students from Masinde Muliro, or I believe this is Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, or it could be Meru. You have representatives or national students from Sudan. UN, you have nationalities from China, Korea, interesting, France, Belgium, Germany, very nice. Catholic University of Eastern Africa, you have Congolese, UN has Zimbabwe, UN has Burundi, Somalia, India, South Sudan, interesting. So it is possible that as a student leader, then you could be thinking today in positioning yourself as a global citizen, having interacted with not just these nationalities, but with bearing in mind that it is possible that you will be traveling, you will be meeting people from different jurisdictions. How are you fitting that space? And with the same spirit, please, let's see how you take care of your international students in your institutions and students with disability. Thank you. Africa Nazarene, thank you. Sudan, Mozambique. Very well. So get those responses coming. Two fundamental aspects that we'd also talk about is investing in leadership training. Now, we talked about mentorship and coaching, which are part of leadership development and training. But then when we say invest, then there are spaces that are probably paid or that are quite limited in terms of the threshold that you would be required to, to meet in terms of criteria to be able to be admitted. Some of them include international fellowship programs. And I know you've heard about the yearly East Africa program, which is quite common in Kenya, the Washington Fellows. You've heard about the Tutu Fellows. You've heard about chevening, which is now well known in Kenya and across the globe. Fellowships for students that or young leaders that going to study in the UK or going to be awarded this prestigious fellowship status in the UK by the UK government. And just to mention, the Ministry of Education has a number of scholarships and fellowships, sometimes normally advertised on the website. We also advertise those as Corporate Career Academy on LinkedIn. Please check us out as Corporate Career Academy. See some of those fellowship programs that are shared. But again, you also have opportunities in ongoing workshops at the national level, at the regional level. Look out for youth training programs on leadership. And investing in that helps you to gain new perspectives, helps you to network, helps you to reach out to people that perhaps would not ordinarily be available to you if you didn't go a further mile of getting into the training spaces. And finally, as a key component of cultivating and developing future leaders, we've talked about building focus on progress and impact. Please underline progress and impact. As a leader, are you shaping your communities? Are you transforming your communities? Are you making a difference? And what is that difference? Is your impact measurable? And what would be the testimonials that your colleagues today would say that you have achieved in terms of milestones? And what would the future remember you for? So that's the impact. And on everyday basis, we seek to progress. Very well. I'd like us to move to the second last slide, which I think is important for this discussion tonight. And this is on essential skills. So we've seen what we need to do to build leadership. These skills that we keep talking about, I'm glad that you mentioned a majority of them. And so this is the point when I want to allow just 3 leaders in the audience to help us define some of these terms, and you can pick randomly. So if you are ready, please just raise your hand. We'll identify you. We'll give you an opportunity to define one of these terms as a leader and what they mean to you. Lahat, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yes, good evening. Yeah, my name is Lahat. I hope I'm audible. Am I?
Go ahead, Lahat. We can hear you. Where are you joining us from?
I'm from the University of Nairobi. I am international student representative at the WUSA Council. Yeah.
Very well.
When you ask,
originally?
I am a South Sudanese.
Thank you very much, Lahat. We are glad to have you. Please, which responsibility do you occupy? You say international students rep?
Yeah, international student representative, yeah, for the university.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead and pick a term that you'd want to define as a leader.
Yeah, I will pick the 2, communication and vision. When you ask for the skill that a leader would have, I list the first 2. I am surprised you have these things on your
very well
on your list. So communication, yeah, communicate. Sorry.
Please go ahead and define communication.
Yeah, communication it's complementary with the vision and any other thing. So ability to explain to your team what is it that is required, what are the challenges, basically the ability to communicate what need to be done and what need not to be done, so that someone is convened in terms of bringing people on board, in terms of resource mobilization, in terms of driving toward objective in terms of meeting timelines and all those things. So a vision would as well mean giving a clear direction, so that when you work, you don't deviate away from this particular goal or this particular vision that you have set. So that is the brief definition of it. It may entail a lot of things, but communication basically to convince somebody why these things should be done and why these things should not be done, and also to be able to know what is it to keep all the members on board, those you are working with, so that no one is quiet, no one is talking too much, and a lot of those things.
Thank you, Lahat. Quite comprehensive in terms of your definition. Leaders must have the capacity to communicate clearly, effectively, and in a manner that addresses the interests of their people, addresses the needs of their people. And in communication, there are very many other essentials. For example, it expresses the vision in somebody. Are you visionary? But are you able to communicate that vision or express that vision? Again, in terms of visioning, can you forecast the future? Can you read the future on behalf of your colleagues? Can you take actions now that would make a difference in the coming days? Thank you very much, Mahat, and I appreciate your inputs. I was going to go to the next person. I saw some other hands raised. Who was it that came first? Okay, I can see 5 hands now. Who do we start with? Wekesa, please unmute and choose a term to define. Please tell us your institution and where you're calling us from and your responsibility in your university or college.
Thank you, the host. I'm Wekesa Tibo Ramadan from the University of Embu. I'm the Secretary General. I would like to define the term emotional intelligence. This is the capacity to recognize, understand, manage, and influence emotions in oneself and others. It encompasses self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. High emotionally intelligence enables individuals to navigate social complexity, foster strong relationship, and make informed, empathetic decisions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wekesa from Embu University. Indeed, a pleasure, and thank you very much for that comprehensive definition. We keep on talking about IQ, EQ, and as leaders, other than IQ, the EQ is very important. Emotional intelligence is a fundamental part of that component. And what we are saying is that to be able to govern, to be able to lead, to be able to navigate the dynamics of leadership, you have to have a high comprehension of emotional intelligence as defined by Wekesa, and I do not want to, dwell much on that. In the interest of time, please, you might want to type a response on the chat box. Please define a term in your own and how it has been applicable to you in your leadership journey. There were 3 other hands raised. I would allow 2 people. Is there a lady among them? Yes, Elizabeth. I don't know if you, no, you're not raising your hand, sorry. Okay. Any raised hands? Okay, I can see, yeah, okay. Lawrence? No, Ivy, please. Ivy, go ahead, then we could allow another gentleman.
Okay.
Please introduce yourself, tell us where you're calling us from, and choose a term.
Okay. My name is Ivy Hammer from the University of Nairobi. I'm the class rep, second year, and I'm also the vice chairperson for the University of Nairobi Geography Student Society. I'd like to define accountability. It is the state of being accountable. For instance, as a leader in the process of fulfilling commitments and taking responsibilities, you also have a responsibility to be accountable for your action in an organization. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ivy, representing the geography students and the second years from the University of Nairobi. We understand that you occupy such a vital role as a class rep. My initial role before I was elected a student leader was the role of a class rep in the class of economics and sociology in our year. So thank you. Just as you put it, accountability is a fundamental skill that is essential in your leadership. And being accountable is being able to tell us what 1 + 1 is openly without any frustrations. Student leaders are often entrusted with resources, registration fees at club levels, contributions for bereaved students and welfare funds at class rep level, or even at the faculty level. The treasurer and the governing council are in charge of the funds, the annual subscription by students in your unions and associations. And so being accountable, it does not just revolve around the finances, but it revolves also around on, if you say, for example, that I'm going to be elected class rep, the direct academics, I would want to ensure that I improve the bandwidth or the speed of internet in the university from, say, 20 Mbps to 50 Mbps, increase the radius from, say, 20 meters to 100 meters, then those are things that you must fulfill within your term and within the elected period. And so in the interest of time, I would want to mention that besides what have been defined by our colleagues, decision-making is essential, and decision-making and problem-solving sometimes go hand in hand in your context of leadership. You are always leading in crisis, students wanting or not wanting the other thing, your colleagues demanding for fair treatment, for accountability on the part of the administration, conflicts with the community, say the non-residents and so forth, conflict within the classes, conflict within lecture halls or clashing classes, conflicts arising from the timetable, and so many other dynamics. And as a leader, you stand in between the decision to escalate that crisis or to work on it and address it. And some of the things that I saw, for example, in terms of negotiation skills, are part of that decision making. What approach are you going to take as a leader? Are you going to go on rampage, or are you going to sit in the boardroom and discuss this with the stakeholders, the faculties, the deans, the administration that is involved? Are you going to discuss it at the level of the council and take it to the deans of students' office? Are you going to escalate it with the necessary officers? Or are you going to fight? Like we say, when you see people fighting, two people fighting, then it's okay to justify or conclude that reasoning has failed. So the approach that we keep giving student leaders and people who occupy vital positions such as yours, whose communication, whose word on social media would send the university closing or continue learning in a learning institution, then please adopt negotiation skills, boardroom skills, and capacity to dialogue. And we've talked about being passionate about what you've chosen to do, being patient with others, with yourself, with the stakeholders, with the administration, with your lecturers, and being flexible. Flexible to give and take, because in leadership, in negotiation, in decision making, in problem solving, and in its entirety, flexibility is a constant part of dispensing or displaying qualities of a good leader, or the essentials. Focus on growth. Where are we now? Where do we want to move? It's part of the vision. Resilience and adaptability. Very key. I saw that some of you had typed resilience. What is resilience? What do we say, or what do we see in a resilient person? Any thoughts? One person that might want to come in that? Resilience. Okay. I see. Striving through hardship. We see resilience in the strength, ability to overcome hardships. Okay, that's George saying the same thing as Olwatch there. No, or Millie, yes. And Doreen is saying resilience is the ability to bounce back. Comrades and good people, all these responses are responding to or answering the question that we are asking. Adaptability and resilience means that you are able to put yourself in a situation that was not ordinarily the foregoing. If things have changed for the better or for the worst, how do you adjust to fit within that situation in a manner that does not compromise your welfare, does not compromise the welfare of others? And how do you emerge out of the situation? We've talked about adaptability. We've talked about crisis. How do you emerge out of a crisis? It's resilience. When we say, for example, disaster resilience, that Kenya is not disaster resilient, many African countries are not disaster resilient. It means that our levels of preparedness, our infrastructure, our capability to deal with the adversities that come with, the effects of climate change do not resonate with the size of the problem or the scope of the adversity. And so being resilient simply means that you're able to cope with difficulties, you're able to design solutions out of the difficulties, and you're able to have a strong and a sustainable approach in terms of dealing with such a particular situation. And I can see that, somebody here, Kevin, says that it's a capacity to meet adversity, setbacks, trauma, and many other things and recover from them. Nobody could say it better. Kevin, thank you for that other additional input. And so, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to go to the very last important slide. As I conclude, I know we should have concluded at 9. We lost 10 minutes in the admission process, but please allow me to recover that in this last slide. We've talked about inclusivity. We've talked about effectiveness of your leadership as students, as student leaders, as emerging leaders. How do you build this inclusive and effective student community? One is that your communities of student leaders, of the overall students and the community, has to show empathy. Today, the demand here in Kenya is for the national government, particularly by the presidency and the executive, to be more empathetic to the situation Kenyans are facing in terms of taxation. And so as leaders, as people that bear responsibility, you must always be able to sit in positions where you can express empathy to your colleagues and those that are in distress. Bereaved, without school fees, maybe impregnated in the process, or are expectant as they journey and navigate their student life, experiencing difficulties in coping with drugs, experiencing difficulties in mental health, and and many other aspects. And so to have an effective, a cohesive community, empathy has to be part and parcel of that community. Appreciation of diversity. Remember, we talked about inclusivity and diversity in the essential skills. Now, we are communities that accommodate 42 of the Kenyan tribes, plus many others that are from different nationalities as you enlisted. How do we appreciate diversity? How do we build a culture that appreciates everyone? How do the cultural weeks within your institutions, within your classes, within your clubs, within your faculties appreciate different nationalities and appreciate, our diversity as a nation? And inclusivity in that diversity is particularly important. I like the fact that there are international student reps. Make it a practice that in every association, in every Congress, we have reps of the minorities, reps of international students, reps of students with disability, and all of those are taken care of. And your communities must be vibrant, open, and closely knit. What is a closely knit community? We must be unbreakable as leaders, and we must form a council that is not divided between the chair or the president, the directors or the secretaries, academic or finance, and so forth. And if you're able to establish that as student leaders, then you're able to transfuse this culture to your classes, to your clubs, to your communities, and ensure that when you have one indivisible student body, then you are able to dispense your responsibilities to each and everyone without leaving anyone behind. So that if you got into a year of study, for example, you are in the class of 2017, the class of 2022, you must seek to graduate together regardless of the circumstances. Transparency. Leaders, we talked about accountability. Accountability in the essence of being able to make returns on what you've been entrusted with. But transparency in the aspect of your dealing. If you are seen to be opaque, not seen to be communicating, not seen to be updating students regularly, you're always going to be keeping your colleagues in anxiety situations, making stress levels go high, for example, with declaration of situations or positions, disclosing some technical or bad news to students, being able to manage crisis and so forth. And in all that aspect, you have to be transparent. Like we mentioned, dialogue is part of decision making. It's part of problem solving, and encouraging a community of students that communicates within itself on social media, on your social pages, on WhatsApp, on the channel for the university or the college. Then please, this makes the community more inclusive, more effective. And this is the way to hear the voices and the opinion of others so that they make part and parcel of our decisions and the progress that we make as leaders. And finally, presence and proactivity. Presence and proactivity. You can't be an absentee leader. Not at all. You can't be a class rep that does not know the lecturers or that does not have the contacts of the lecturers. And you can't be the president of the student body that is not proactive in communicating decisions that have been made by the administration, good or bad. You can't be the student leader that is sitting in the disciplinary committee, but you are not advancing the rights of the students. And you can't be the leader that is perpetually the one missing classes or missing gatherings or missing club meetings when you're supposed to be the one leading the conversation or setting the example. And so, comrades, you will bear with me that if you are not present, you're likely to be voted out, or you're likely to be demoted, you're likely to be replaced. And presence goes together with proactivity. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to go further than this. I want to allow another 10 minutes of Q&A. If you can ask questions or share comments, please put them in the chat box. Otherwise, I would also be asking you to raise your hands so that we can sample just a few feedbacks, then we call it a day. Hope that we can close by 25 past the hour. Thank you. Lahat, thank you. Please go ahead.
Good evening once again. I would like to thank you, Philip, for the opportunity and the team behind, and all the comrades who have showed up. It's a good learning platform. What I would like to ask with your academy, do you give capacity building at the institutions? Let's say, for me as an international student leader, we have a club called International Student Club and Leadership Center at the University of Nairobi. We just formed recently. We need to need people in the field, like with the mentors, to be able to help these students gain some other skills that are not necessarily found in the classes. Even if so, they are also not very clear. Is it possible that you can give a 2 or 1 or 2 days training, to capacity building training on with these people? And if it is true, then what is it that is required for you to be able to offer this kind of service? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lahat. That's what we live to do as an academy. Would be very much to build capacities of your clubs. We have done that for many other institutions. We would be happy to do something with the international students. Please, to do that, put a request through writing or phone call via the number that is displayed on the screen. Write an email to the academy. Somebody will respond to you in regards to what you need done. So we would be much happy to collaborate with you to do something. Thank you. Wekesa, go ahead.
Again, it's dark. I want to get
okay.
Sorry, Lahat, did I interrupt you?
No, I'm saying this screen where the number was displaying is not visible again. I don't know, is it my network or something?
Okay, it should be just in 1 minute. I'll return the screen, but meanwhile, let's hear from Wekesa.
Okay, thank you, the host. Actually, mine is more for appreciation and saying that this is a noble idea, that you impacted the life of young leaders, that we will make a pronouncing impact to our lives. And I believe this is the future strong Gen Z regime that will come to overtake or take power in this nation. And what you are doing, actually, I personally am so impressed, and would wish that it opens up doors for many of us. Actually, we feel impactful, and I say mine is just to say thank you for this initiative and the organization entire at large. And we are so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wekesa. We are indeed most obliged and happy to collaborate and continue this conversation with all of you in your institutions. CCA exists because we are former student leaders who occupied the same roles that you occupy today. We identified the need 10 years ago, and we've been passionately addressing the need to fill those gaps. And so we'll be here with you to journey with you as you grow through your leadership. Thank you. And please do not hesitate to talk to us privately if you need us to work with the association and to work with your newly elected leaders or onboarded leaders. Thank you. Somebody is asking when the next meeting is. I believe Alex would be able to announce that. Please type it in the chat box as we seek to also respond to all of us. Philip, please go ahead.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Philip, the current president of Egerton University. I'm asking, I had talked to Alex a while ago after we attended the last year's session, and we were talking on a career talk to our university, but unfortunately, we've not been able to get a clear response on that. Secondly, it's about the elections that once you plan to reward some of these student leaders, I was concerned about the election that someone had to pay, I think, to vote. And you see, comrades, sometimes when you charge, they don't take much part on it. I think you answer that too. Otherwise, you are doing a good job. And as Egerton Fraternity, we will continue to partner with you this year and even subsequent years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Philip, and my namesake. I'm glad that you are taking responsibility as the president to keep advancing the space for your colleagues. We happy to take the conversation forward in terms of helping you host a career fair and a mentorship program on leadership development, the future of work, and anything that might be of an interest. Please call Alex or Dorothy on the office phone, and we'll begin taking that up as soon as possible. We appreciate your compliments, and we are happy that you participated in the last year's awards and the East African Employability Summit. We welcome you again this year. We hope to address some of your challenges as we go on, and we'll see the best way to address probably the voting platform this year as we go on. Much appreciated in terms of your feedback. I'll pick at least 2 more comments or questions before we close. Any more comments? Thank you very much, Elisha, for your comments. You're saying that in the interest of justice, allow me to extend my profound gratitude to the organization for such a credible session. We appreciate it, Elisha. Thanks for your kind words. A comrade by the name Famous is saying that if you join late, was there something like registration or something of the sort? No, so long as you registered previously on the other one, please seek out for the recorded version on this session. Follow us on Facebook and on LinkedIn. On the displayed screen, you'll be able to get the recorded version. I never defined vision. No, I did define vision as the ability to forecast the future, to be very explicit in what you want to do, and to see the future that you want to work towards or snowball and rally your comrades towards to. When we talk about visionary leadership, then what is the target? What is the end goal? Do you see the specifics that you want to achieve within that process as you go to the table? Thank you very much, comrades. At this juncture, would want to hand over to my colleague Livingstone to call it a day. But once again, we appreciate all of you for spending time with us. The room has been full all through, 100 participants from the beginning to the end. And it was not possible that we could accommodate more. We hope that we're able to do that in the next session. But this session was also playing live on our YouTube link. We hope that you'd be able to get it from that particular area. Like I said, please follow our channels on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, Corporate Career Academy. On X, it's Corporate Career 2 without an R at the end. On LinkedIn and Facebook, it's Corporate Career Academy. And we hope that you'd be able to get much help in those spaces. Once again, it's been me, Philip Pande. Some of you have interacted with us physically or in previous events, we hope that you can ask us to come to your university, come to your college, and we also invite you to come to our events so that we interact more and deliver value to your community. Thank you, comrades, and thank you very much, leaders. We appreciate your time. Livingston?
Thank you very much, team, for coming to this session. Unfortunately, you are not able to see me today. Welcome to our series of training sessions. We intend to impact and enable you to make some decisions in life. And we believe by sharing our experiences, our failings, where we have been able to do something, it will also empower you to do something better and become a better person. So our next session will be next month on 10th July. I know Alex will be able to come back to you. We are again sorry that we were not able to accommodate a number of you. We've had some few struggles to ensure we are able to change, which has not been possible. We'll be able to accommodate as many of you as possible during our next session. So we ask you to come. By the end of the session, you'll have a certificate of participation, and we look forward to your contribution, your support, and the good work you are doing at the university is really admirable. We look forward to see you next month. May you have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Livingston, and thank you, all leaders. We can call it a day and end it at this level. See you in the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
For sure. Umemsikia? Hebu nione, not over 49.
Pande, you can add from your end.
Shadin.